Hi guys, it's Chris with City Girl Homestead. So today I just made another 7 quarts of tomatoes 2 days ago. So I figure I have like 43 quarts plus what I have left from last year and regular canned diced tomatoes. So I don't think I need any more for a while. So I'm going to take today and 2 days ago the harvest, and I'm going to make it into tomato sauce. I do have this big bag that I had left after canning 7 quarts. So I'm going to try something different this year. Instead of just taking all my tomatoes and then putting them all in a big pan and just letting them cook down, because I've been kind of reading, and let's see how this works. Alright, so I'm going to take that big beautiful blender I got, and I've done it a couple different ways already this morning, just with a few tomatoes. You can't blend it because then it turns orange, and I don't want an orange tomato sauce. That wouldn't be very good. So what I found works is if you pulse it. Oops, I have to turn the power on first. And then it stays a really nice vibrant red. If you continue to do it though, it will actually turn orange. And then I'm going to put them all that was great. Then I'm going to put them all in this pan. And that was better. I'm going to put them all in this pan. And then once I get that pan filled up with all my tomatoes, I'll be back. So what you have to do is you've got to cook that down and you've got to strain it. Last year I didn't strain it, and there was a few tomato seeds left in it. But that's okay. It's not going to kill you. And it was really tasty. So I will bring you back when I get all the tomatoes ready. I did figure out there was an easier way to do this. So if I just unscrew this and then lift this little tab right there, it all pours right in. And you can keep adding tomatoes to it too, by the way. So just thought I'd show you. I did find a little shortcut. Okay, so now I have all the tomatoes and they're all in this big pan. And if you notice, there's still chunks, but some of that's going to cook down while it's cooking, because this obviously is not going to be thick enough for tomato sauce. Now, I don't know if I would do the Ninja again, because it seemed to have taken a lot of the red out, which, you know, you can always add red food coloring. I'm not going to do that. I would rather have it be in its natural state. So what you do is, once this is boiled down enough, then you can take the immersion blender to it as well. And I thought that the Ninja would save a lot of time, which it does in the beginning. I mean, and it might turn out great. I don't know. But I think, we'll see. But I think maybe if I would have just cooked it down and then use the immersion blender, it might have been better. But we'll see. It's just starting. I just got it on the fire. And who knows? It might turn out better than anything. The point being is that whether it turns out orange or bright red, you know what's in that tomato sauce, and it's yours. You put all the work into it, and it's your tomato sauce. It's not anyone else's, just yours. So, you know, I like the idea, because I have to wonder, you know, I'm sure they go through big vats of these things, and I mean, it's still red, but theirs is bright red. So I wonder if they put a coloring in it. I'd have to actually look at a jar. I haven't bought any tomato sauce in a long time because I made my own last year, but I wonder if they do. And do we really know if they didn't? So I've got a couple other things that Tom got out of the garden last night that I'm going to dehydrate. So I'll come back when I'm going to do those. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I've got what's left over of my dill. And I am going to dehydrate this. So I'm going to spread it all out on my dehydrator sheet. And then that way I didn't need that big thing there. I thought I got off all the stems. So I'm going to dehydrate the dill. Now on the next tray, what I'm going to do is, one day I'll be run out and then I can make some of my own. I've got my little red peppers here. And this is what you make the little red pepper flakes with. And you don't have to worry about the smell or anything like that going up. It'll be fine. You can dehydrate it all together. So now let me come back and I'll show you what I'm going to do. It's going to be kind of a, I don't know, something that we're going to try. So Jack and I came up with an idea. I have a bunch of these peppers, and I'm going to take the seeds out of these ones, or at least cut the tops off. And now last year, because we don't like spicy stuff really, I had a boatload of jalapeno peppers, and I used some for my salsa, you know, but past that, I really didn't need any. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't need that. So I put them in the freezer, and I keep looking at them all the time. And I thought to myself, what can I do with those to get them out of the freezer so we could actually put them to use somewhere? So Jack and I were talking this morning, and this is what I mean. I have a whole bowl of them. So the banana peppers are not spicy. We all know that. They're not spicy. But obviously, the jalapenos are. And I didn't cut off. I cut up all the tops, but I didn't take out any of the seeds out of them. So my thought was this. All right, so I don't know how good that's going to show up, but we'll see. I'm going to put these in the blender. And I have all kinds of sizes. I have little ones, I have big ones, because we took everything that we found on our plants, you know, at the end of the year. You don't want to let them waste. Just say I had a bumper crop of jalapenos last year, and I don't need them. I think I would have rather have done this when it was still not froze, because I think they would go a lot better. Let's see here. All right. So let me see what happens if I just pulse them. Yep, I got the ones that are stuck at the top there. There's a few that didn't get pulsed in there, and that's okay. We'll take them out. Yes, my hands are going to be hot. Take any really big pieces out of there that I find. I shouldn't have filled it so full, but that's okay. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those ones that didn't blend up real good, and I'm going to add all those little peppers too. If this doesn't turn out, you know, it isn't from lack of trying on it. Just trying to think of different ways to preserve it that I would actually use them. You know what I mean? So I'm going to put that on there. Can you imagine if you made that into salsa right now, how hot that would be? I would. I would not be eating it. Alright. Whew, you guys, that smells hot. Whew. Let me tell you, that is one hot smell right there. Oof. Alright, so let me move everything else out of the way right now. That is going to be very, very strong. That is a fact. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my trays, and I'm actually going to do this with a spoon because it's going to be hot. I'm going to mix those up a little bit. Any of the big pieces I'll pick out after they get done dehydrating. And I'm going to spread these on my sheets. Take that one out. Excuse me. So my goal is, sorry this is going to be a long video, but my goal is to take this and to dehydrate it and to put it into a jar. And then if we make like chili, or we want to make some, you know, quick salsa that day, whatever it happens to be, we have a hot blend. And that's what we'll label it, hot blend. So I'm going to get all of these sheets done and get them in the dehydrator. Obviously, you won't see them dehydrated in this video, but somewhere down the road, I'll show them to you when they're dry and in the jar. But I think it's a good idea. Maybe it won't turn out. I don't know, but it's worth trying, and it gets them out of my freezer. I'll be back. All right, so I did run the immersion blender through my tomato sauce. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So now it literally has to cook down to quite a bit. So it'll be on there for a few hours. So I wanted to show you something else I'm doing today. I only have 3 peppers, so it isn't much. And the first ones I forgot to save the seeds. These are hatch peppers. This is what I put in my rotel. Well, I didn't buy any seeds last year. I seed saved from the rotel, or from the hatch peppers that I'd bought at Kroger. The one plant did not survive, but there was a couple that did. So actually I'm going to cut the top off like this, and all those seeds in there I'm going to dry out and save for next year. I thought to myself, well, maybe these are just green peppers. So being the person that I am, I of course had to take a small bite. Oh, yeah, it's hatch peppers. So I'm going to save as many of those seeds as I possibly can. And those, all you do is you scrape them out. Try not to break them. And put them on a paper plate and let them dry. And so I'm going to do the same thing with this one. See, and then you have all those seeds that are in there. And it worked out great, honestly. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these up to where they'll fit into my little chopper here. And then I'm just going to chop them. Now these ones, like I say, goes into my rotel. So I will chop these ones up and they will just go into the freezer. I know, just take some out and put some back in, right? Alright, let's see here. And there are a couple more out there, they're just not big enough yet. So I'm going to take this part off, maybe, and get the rest of them off the bottom. We don't want to waste those. Alright, so there's what I have for hatch pepper so far for Rotel for next year. I'm going to get all the air out of them, put them in the freezer, and I'm going to seed save. So that'll be all that I show you on the video today until we get to the tomato sauce. So I'll be back. Okay, now since it's getting really hot, I want to get all that other crud out of there so that it can actually boil down to be what it's going to be, and that's tomato sauce. So I've got a bowl underneath here, and I'm going to pull it through the strainer, and that way it starts to get so where it's cooking up all the real juice in there and not the, you know, the extra skins, the seeds, and whatever. So I'm going to get this full thing drained out, then I'll get it back on the stove and start cooking it. Alright, so now I have it back on the stove cooking. Let me show you how much prettier that looks now. Now it's got to go down to half, or about there. And I might get 3 quarts. I don't know. So people, when they wonder how come everything is so expensive, it really, really does take a lot of tomatoes to make your tomato sauces, your pasta sauces, whatever. It really does take a lot. So I got probably this much in a bowl left over of seeds and guts and whatever that came out of that. So don't you worry, it's not going to go to waste, because you can actually make tomato powder out of that. So right now I've got it in the sink and I'm letting all the liquid possible drain out of it, and then I will get it on my dehydrator sheets and we'll get it dehydrated. So nothing has to go to waste. So even if I only get 2 or 3 quarts out of there, it's more than I had. I could actually make it into tomato juice right now if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna make tomato sauce. It is a lot easier if you can use your big, I don't know what they call them, you know, the turkey roasters. It's a lot easier if you can do that, because you can get a ton of tomatoes. But right now, the way that it's going, I'm not getting enough at a time, if that makes sense. So, maybe towards the end of the season, maybe they'll all ripen at once. But until then, I kind of have to small batch stuff. And I'm not going to let anything go to waste. So if I have to small batch all of it, that's what I'll do. But now it's to the cooking it down process. And then I'll show you what it's like to put it on the trays as well. But I'm going to let it drain for at least an hour or 2 so that I can get it as dry as possible. Because it takes a long time when you dry something that's wet. So this is going to be a long, broke up video, and I apologize for that. But, you know, we do what we can do. Okay, so we got the tomato sauce is still boiling. It's went down about this much, so it's getting there. And I've drained this for at least, it's been close to an hour. And I'm going to take these tomatoes. Let me put my camera down just a little bit so you can see better. I'm actually going to put this on, and then I'm going to do it with my hands so I can spread it out really thin. Believe me, my hands are really clean. I've done dishes already several times today. And I just had to clean the screen up that I drained everything in. Because I want to get it as thin as possible, because you don't want, like, dry spots and not dry spots, you know what I mean? So, there's one. And by the way, this tomato powder, if you haven't looked, is really, really expensive on even Amazon. So, it's definitely a money saver. And with me doing all the other stuff at one time, it's not wasting a bunch of electricity because I'm doing the other dehydrating at the same time. All right. So I thought I'd use 3 trays, but nope. Just 2. I mean, there's some things that you can't do anything with, but you know, you can even take your leftover veggies, you know, the skins and stuff like that, and you can dehydrate those and make them into a vegetable powder. And I just found this out from one of the viewers that actually I can take the skins off of my onions and actually make that into an onion powder as well. So I've never had to use the tomato powder. Well, for a couple of recipes I have, but I want to tell you 10 things, and I'll post it below. 10 things you can use tomato powder for. You can use it to make tomato sauce. You can mix it to your mayo and make a delicious tomato aioli, I think. You can make tomato paste, mix it into soups, make tomato soup with it, add it to dishes with bland pink store tomatoes, pink store bought tomatoes, and inject some summery, that's good, tomato flavor into them. Mix it into salad dressings, use it as your own killer dry barbecue rub. Oh, I bet you that's good. And make your own homemade pizza sauce, and make your own Bloody Marys to create a more intense tomato flavor. So there are several different ways that you can use it, and why let anything go to waste. I am going to start saving my onion peels. Like when I go to get the big bag of onions to pack up for the winter, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to save my peelings and I'm going to dehydrate those and see how well that comes out. So just waiting for this to finish cooking down. Alright, so since we're on the preservation thing here, last Friday, Jack was given a vegetable box, and I took him up there to go get it, and the guy goes, well, you're here, why don't you take one? I don't turn down free vegetables, are you kidding me? So we got quite a few things, potatoes and celery and peppers and apples, bananas. I don't remember what else was in there. So I asked Jack, are you going to use your peppers and your celery and stuff? And he's like, no. So it's going to sit in the refrigerator and spoil. So I figured I better do something with them. We only got 2 apiece. So this is what I do. I take them and I cut them up. And I take my little chopper here that I have. And I'll chop them all up. Because they're just a couple of each, I'll mix the colors. It doesn't matter when you're cooking what color you got, you know what I mean? Green peppers give me intense heartburn, but if I mix it with other peppers, it's not so bad. Probably don't need that big a piece. So what I do is I cut them all up, and these should all fit in a quart bag, I would think, hopefully. And I love this one that opens up at the end because then I can just pour it right into the bags or into the bowl or whatever happens to be needed to be done. Yeah, a quart will do them all. So then I put them all in here, and then I put them in the freezer so when we need peppers, I'll be back to show you what I do with the celery. Alright, so now on to the celery. I got it all cleaned up, and I'm just going to slice it. Not super thin, but something you might want to use in a soup or, you know, something like that. I do have a lot of this that's dehydrated, but if you ever want like that fresh kind, you know what I mean, you're going to just chop it up, and try not to throw it all over the floor. My floor when I get done doing this stuff, you guys, is such a mess. It really is. Jack will complain, but he'll clean it up. I do all the dishes and stuff up and the other cleanup, and he sweeps the floor and takes the trash out. We have our own little thing that we do. So, Then you're just going to put them in. I could have probably gotten away with a quart bag, but that's all right. We'll use a gallon. And I just want to show you guys, you know, when, I know it's been a messed up video today, but I just kind of want to show you that, you know, we can, even if it's one stalk of celery at a time, we can preserve that food. And whether it's dehydrating, freezing, canning, whatever we want to do with it. So like just those 4 peppers, this is how many I got. You know what I mean? And so far, this is how much celery I have. Believe me, you can do a lot of soup with that celery and a lot of side dishes or whatever with those peppers. So, you know, we all think that we have to have this massive amount to be able to do anything to preserve. That's not true. That's not true. That's just like today. Then I found 5 tomatoes in my refrigerator, by the way. But that's okay. But like today, there's not going to be a whole lot in this, honestly, after I cook it down. But when you look at the price of tomato powder and, you know, this is my own canned tomato sauce, it's going to be worth it. Everything's worth it. So, you know, yeah. Let's just preserve what we can. And, you know, if the power goes out or something like that, leave your freezer door shut. But if you think that something's going to happen, get it in your dehydrator. You know what I mean? Dehydrate it up, can it up. I've never canned celery, and I just think that that would be like mush to me. Maybe I'm wrong. So if you guys have canned it before, let me know. So I'll be back. Still waiting on that to cook all the way down. Alrighty. So I have it all cooked down now. And I was talking to Renee, and she said you can put a little bit of tomato paste in there, and it'll help thicken it up even more. So I'd put just a little bit in there. My jars are hot. My water boiling on my canner over there is hot. And I've decided to use my pressure canner. And I tasted this, you guys. Is it so good? I don't know what all they put in theirs at the store, but I don't taste tomato sauce. It tastes this good. There we go. There's the first one. Ooh, that's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Now there's no seeds, nothing in there. They're completely clean. Ooh, it's hot. Make sure you get the outsides, everything perfectly clean on there. I am reusing my lids. And let's see how 4 jars does when I recan with them. Because that's what I'm going to use. So let me fill all these up. We'll see how many we get. Alright, so I got 3 1/4 pints of tomato sauce. And I got 1 can of water in there. So it's kind of better off now. It's been heating. The water is nice and boiling hot. So is the stuff that came out of the pan. So get hot, hot, and hot. Now I'm going to let this get to a full steam. Let it steam for 10 minutes. Now because it is in the pressure canner, I do not have to use lemon juice. If you pressure can your tomatoes, you don't need lemon juice. So if you water bath it, make sure you put 2 teaspoons in there, I think it is. So I'm going to wait for that to spout for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to get it canning for another 20 minutes, and then I'll bring you back when it's done. Alright, there we go. It's all out. Time to get the video up.